Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. So welcome back to my video again. Okay, so in this video I'm going to focus on showing to you, on teaching you on how to find out the mean and variance for your continuous random variable. Okay, so there are two different formulas that you need to memorize. The first one, okay, Ex equals to integrate x times with fx dx. So your fx here is your probability density function. Okay, so it depends on what is given to you in the questions. Okay, so Ex is actually referring to your mean. Okay, secondly, okay, the second equation is Ex square minus Ex square in the bracket. Okay, so this one is to calculate your variance, where Ex square, okay, is actually equals to integrate, okay, x square multiply with your probability density function, and your Ex square for this one, okay, Ex square is actually referring to mean. Okay, the values of the mean that you get, you just need to square it. Okay, so these two formulas you need to memorize because it will not be given in the exam. Okay, so I'm going to show you with the first example on how we can use this formula to find out your mean and variance. Okay, so let's look at the first example. Okay, so you were given, okay, the probability density function is equals to 1 over 8, okay, for the class interval between 2 to 10. Okay, and it's only one probability density function, and to find Ex, okay, so your Ex, okay, let's write down the formula, equals to integrate x fx dx. Okay, so the limits is between, depends on the class interval, it's 10 to 2, and x multiply with your fx, which is 1 over 8 dx. So I prefer to expand first, okay, multiply first this x with the 1 in the bracket, so it becomes x over 8 dx, and then we can continue with the integration. So integrate x over 8, it will becomes x square. Okay, so the square here we will multiply with number 8 at the bottom. Okay, close the bracket, 10 to 2, so it becomes x square over 16 with the class limit between 10 to 2. So we need to substitute the value when x equals to 10 and when x equals to 2 to get what is your Ex. Okay, so which is equals to 100 minus 4 over 16. If you simplify this one, you should get your Ex to be 6. So this is the mean for the given probability density function. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so let's move on to get your variance. Okay, so to get variant x, you need to use this formula where Ex square minus Ex, and we square the mean. Okay, so in order to use this formula, you need to first find out what is Ex square. So how to use this one, or how to get this one? Okay, so that means we're going to integrate, okay, to the class interval limits from 10 to 2. X square, we're going to multiply with the functions that we have in the question. Okay, so here it is 1 over 8 dx. So as usual, I prefer to expand first this x square with the one with the functions in the bracket, so it will be easier for me to do the integration. So it becomes x square over 8 dx. Okay, so now let's integrate. So x square, it becomes x cubed over 3 multiply with 8. Okay, then 2. Okay, simplify further, so it becomes x cubed over 24, then 2. Okay, so let's substitute the values of x with 10 and the values of x when it's equals to 2. So if you calculate this one, the answer should be 1 to 4 over 3. Okay, so you can press your calculator to get this one and check either you get the same answer as mine, which is 1 to 4 over 3. Okay, so we have not done yet, okay, to solve your variance, because we just only calculate Ex square. Okay, so to solve your variance, you need to find out what is your Ex square. Okay, so let's continue. So variance x equals to ex square minus ex square. So your ex square is 124 over 3 and your mean square is 6 from the previous calculation square. Okay, and if you press your calculator, you should get the answers to be 16 over 3. Simple, is it? Okay, so in this example, it just involves with a probability density function that only has one function, which is 1 over 8 for the given class interval. Okay, I'm going to show you with the next example. Okay, so in this second example, instead of having just one probability density function, we actually have two probability density function. Okay, so how do we solve this one? Okay, so to get ey, okay, instead of x now we use ey. That means we need to integrate both of the given probability density function and multiply both with y. Okay, because do you remember? Okay, ey equals to integrate x multiplied with the given probability density function. Okay, again, this one shouldn't be x since this one we use y, so y multiplied with the given probability density function. Okay, so how do we solve this one? Okay, so integrate from for the first class interval is between 0 minus 2. Okay, y, okay, multiply with the given function in the question. Okay, my suggestion to you, okay, or what I always do, I will always try to expand this one first instead of separating them into different brackets. Okay, so if we expand that one, I will have 3y over 16 plus 6 over 16 dy. Okay, and we have two different probability density function, therefore I need to add up with next integrating from interval to 0. Okay, for this one again, it's suggested to expand it first. Okay, so it becomes y multiply with 6 over 16 minus 3y over 16 dy. Okay, next, as usual, I'll prefer you to expand first. It means you have to multiply everything in the bracket with y. Same goes on with this function. Okay, so now we're going to have 0, negative 2. So 3y squared over 16, okay, plus 6y over 16 dy plus integrate to 0. Okay, 6y over 16 minus 3y squared over 16 dy. Okay, now we have an easier to look at the equation, so that means it's easier for us to expand the equation and integrate the equation. Okay, so let's solve the first one. So 3y squared per 16, when we integrate it, it becomes 3y squared additional of 1 power 3y cubed over 3 multiplied with 16 plus 6y squared over 2 multiplied with the 16, close the bracket. Okay, so it should be within 0 to minus 2. Okay, plus this one, square bracket. Okay, 6y becomes 6y squared over 16 multiplied with 2. Okay, where does this 2 come from? It comes from the new power of y. Okay, minus 3y squared becomes 3y cubed over 16 multiplied with 3. Square bracket close and is between limit to 0. Okay, now your job is to substitute the value of y with the given interval, which is the first one, 0 and then negative 2. Okay, so it becomes, when it's 0, it's 0 minus, okay, when I substitute the y with negative 2, okay, so the answers become 1 over 4. Okay, plus with this one, when we replace it with 2, is actually equals to 1 over 4. And when it's equals to 0, y equals to 0, it becomes 0. So, when we calculate it, simplify it further, Okay, 0 minus 1 over 4 plus 1 over 4. So negative 1 over 4 meet 1 over 4. So it becomes 0. So your EX equals to 0 for this one. Okay, so what about the variance? Sorry, it shouldn't be EX but EY. Okay. Okay, let's look out for the variance for this one. Okay, to find out the variance, okay, let's move on. Okay, to get variance, if you write out the formula, so it equals to E y square minus E y n square. So that means we need to find out first what is EY squared for this one. Okay, so how to get this? Okay, so EY square, that means we're going to multiply the function, probability density function, with x squared. Okay, so integrate from the class interval 0, negative 2. Okay, y square, we need to multiply. In the brackets is our function. Okay, so let's look at the function. Okay, so this is the function. Okay, so 3 over 16, y plus 2. As usual, we need to expand it first. So it becomes 3y over 16, then plus 6 over 16 dy. Okay, plus integrate the second one, which is from the interval 2 to 0. Okay, so y square multiply with the probability density function for the second one, which is 6 over 16 minus 3y over 16. How do I get this? Is by expanding 3 over 16 into the function in the bracket. Okay, now we already have the function, and now we can solve this one. Okay, so as usual, please expand this y square into the equation in the bracket first, so that it will be easier for you to do the integration part. Okay, so it becomes 0 minus 2. Okay, 3y cubed over 16 plus 6y squared over 16 dy plus integrate to 0, 6y squared over 16 minus 3y cubed over 16 dy. Okay, now we can solve this. Okay, 3y cubed over 16, it will become 3y to the power of 4 and 4, 16 here. Okay, plus 6y squared will become 6y cubed and 3 multiplied with 16. Okay, it's between class limit of 0 to negative 2 plus, okay, so this one is 6y squared becomes 6y cubed over 3 multiplied with 16 minus 3y, 3 becomes 3y to the power of 4 over 4 times with 16, and close the bracket is between 2 to 0. Okay, so that means you can proceed to the solving this one. Okay, first you need to substitute for the first function when y equals to 0, so it becomes 0. Okay, minus when y equals to negative 2, so you will get the value to be negative 1 over 4. Okay, plus this one when your y equals to 2, okay, so you will get 1 over 4, and when y is equals to 0, is equals to 0. So we have here 1 over 4 plus 1 over 4, which is equals to over 4, and if we simplify this one, we will get 1 over 2. So this is for your EY square. Okay, so that means if you want to get your variance, okay, so variance y equals to EY square minus EY and square for these whole things. Okay, so your EY square we already calculate is equals to 1 over 2 minus, and mean is from the previous calculation, which is equals to 0 square. So your final answer for your variance is 1 over 2. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, so here is your third example. Okay, so you were given okay, this function. And this one we have unknown a. Okay, so there are two different probability density function for two different class interval. Okay, so the question asks you to determine what is a. Okay, so questions find a, and secondly find ex, which is your mean. Okay, so how to get this one? First, we need to solve first how to get your a. Okay, so you have to remember that integrating your probability density function is actually referring to the area under the graph. Area under the graph means you are calculating the probability, and sum of the area of the under the graph is equals to 1, which is sum of probability, okay, is equals to 1. Okay, which is equals to integrating tan 0 ax dx plus integrating 20 0 tan, okay, sorry, tan a 20 minus x dx. So by integrating this, okay, the whole things, you will get the sum of the probabilities is equals to 1. So from this, you can find out what is your a. So 1 equals to integrating ax dx is ax squared over 2 tan 0. Okay, and this one, since we have a and another one in the bracket, so I prefer to expand this one first before we integrate. Okay, so 20 10, so 20 a, okay, minus ax dx. Okay, now 1 equals to this one, we just need to rewrite again. Okay, plus, okay, so integrate 20a, so it becomes 20 ax minus ax to the power of 2 divided by 2 in the square, and 20 10. Okay, so that means I'm going to substitute the value of x. Okay, first 10, so when x equals to 10, it becomes 100 a over 2. Okay, when x equals to 0, so it's 0. Okay, plus, okay, when x equals to 20, next we have to find out when your x equals to 10. Okay, so 20 multiplied with 10, it becomes 200 a, okay, minus, okay, a when x equals to 10. Okay, so 10 square over 2, so 50 a. Okay, 1 equals to 50 a plus, so this one, okay, you have to simplify it. Okay, so 200 minus 150, so leaving us with 50a. So 1 equals to 100a, therefore your a is actually equals to 1 over 100. Okay, so that is your a. Okay, so you already solved the first question. Now we need to move on to the second question, which is to find your ex. Okay, before we solve for ex, we need to first, okay, rewrite the probability density function with replacing the values of a into the equation. Okay, so your fx equals to, okay, first ax, your a is 100, 1 over 100, so x over 100 for the class interval between 0, x and 10. Okay, secondly, okay, 1 over 100 again, 20 minus x for the second class intervals, 10, x and 20, and 0 otherwise. Okay, now let's solve this one. Okay, to get your ex, okay, so rewrite the formula of your ex. Ex equals to x fx dx. Okay, you need to multiply x with all the probability density function is given to you. So ex equals to integrate the first one, between 10 to 0, x multiply with x over 100, okay, plus integrate from 20 to 10, x multiply with the equation. Okay, so this one, again, I prefer you to expand it first. So 1 over 100 multiply with 20, so it becomes 20 over 100. So 20 over 100 is actually 1 over 5, or we can just leave it as 20 over 100. Okay, minus x over 100 dx. Okay, now expand the x with the function in the bracket so that it will be easier for you to the next part, which is your integration. Okay, so 10, 0, x square over 100, okay, plus integrate 20 to 10, okay, and it becomes 20x over 100 minus x square over 100 dx. Okay, now we can integrate. So integrating x square, it becomes x cubed over 3 multiplied with 100. Okay, in between class limit of 10 to 0, plus, okay, 20x, it becomes 20x squared over 2 multiplied with 100, okay, minus x cubed over 3 multiplied with 100. 20 and 10. Okay, now you can substitute the value of x when it's equals to 10. Okay, so when it's equals to 10, it becomes 10 over 3. When x equals to 0, so equals to 0, okay, plus for this one, when your x equals to 20, okay, so it becomes 40 over 3, and when your x equals to 10, it becomes 20 over 3. Okay, so now you can solve this one. So 10 over 3 plus 40 over 3, so 50 over 3, minus 20 over 3, so 30 over 3, which is actually equals to 10. Therefore, your EX for this one equals to 10. Okay, so we are done, okay, calculating and solving for your third question. So let's now move on to the last questions for this video. Okay, so the continuous random variables follows a uniform distribution. So this is the keyword, uniform distribution on the interval 1 to 8. Okay, so you will ask to calculate EX, okay, and variance X. Okay, so how do we derive the probability density function for this one? So your fx equals to 1 over b minus a. So if this is the class interval given 1 and 8, so 1 equals to your a and 8 equals to your b. Therefore, it's equals to 1 over 8 minus 1. So that is your probability density function. Okay, let's rewrite. Your fx equals to 1 over 8 minus 1, which is equal to 7. Okay, between the class interval 1, x, and 8. That means it's 0 for otherwise, for other values of x. Okay, so now we can calculate what is the EX. So your EX equals to integrate x multiplied with your fx dx. Okay, so let's find out what is your EX. Okay, integrate x dot in the bracket should fill up with your fx, which in this one is just 1 over 7. So from class interval 8 to 1. So expand your x, 8, 1, so x over 7 dx. So let's solve this one. So integrating x over 7, it becomes x squared over 7 multiplied with 2, and in between 8, 1. Okay, so when you replace your x with 8, it becomes 64 out of 14. Okay, and when it's equals to 1, it's become 1 over 14. So this one, if we simplify, is actually equals to 63 over 14. Okay, so your 63 is actually 9 over 2. Okay, next we need to solve for your variance. Okay, so variance x equals to e x square minus ex square. So first we need to find out what is your ex square. Okay, So e x square equals to multiply your x square with the function that we have. Okay, so in the bracket should fill up with the function that we have, which is 1 over 7. So between the class limit 8 to 1. Okay, so let's expand first this function. Okay, so that means we're going to integrate from 8 to 1 for x squared over 7 dx. So let's solve this one. So integrating x squared becomes 8 cubed over 3 multiplied with 7 between the class interval 8 to 1. Okay, so let's replace 8 with 3. So 8 to the power of 3 is actually 512. Okay, minus 1 over 21. So if we simplify this one, you will get your answers to be 73 over 3. Okay, so in order to find out what is your variance, okay, so variance x equals to e x squared minus your mean, you square the values of your mean. So your e x squared is 73 over 3 and your mean from your previous calculation is 9 over 2 and square. Okay, so now press your calculator to get what is your variance. If you press it, you will get your answers to be 16 over 3. Okay, so I hope with all these 4 different questions that we already discussed to determine what is your mean and variance, hopefully this will help you to understand how to calculate your mean and variance for your continuous random variable. Okay, see you guys in the next video. If you want more explanation, please leave a comment and in the comment box to find out what more video that I need to produce. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.